just released its fourth quarter results just moments ago. It seems the company hasn't done as badly as some had feared. Let's go to New York. Stephen Fee has all the numbers. Stephen, what did they say?
Well, Timur, we're just getting through some of these earnings reports, so excuse me for looking down at my notes just a bit. But Boeing did report that they beat profit expectations on the street. Revenues up 14% as compared to this year. Now, compared to the time last year, earnings per share down slightly, profit margins being squeezed, but overall, besting expectations. I think the most critical part here, though, is, of course, Boeing is mired in this problem with its new 787 Dreamliner aircraft. Battery fires have grounded the entire global fleet. So while this really looks back at the fourth quarter of 2012, it's almost kind of a parallel universe where Boeing's business was very robust, and now they're facing all these questions about their new aircraft line. Let me just read to you, but according to their guidance in their press release, they say they will assume no significant financial impact from the FAA directive. That's referring to the grounding of the aircraft. And their CEO, Jim McNerney, says their first order of business for 2013 is to resolve the battery issue on the 787 and return the airplane safely to service with our customers.
All right, Stephen, thanks very much indeed for that. The latest numbers from Boeing. Let's continue the conversation with Subhranshu Sekhar-Das, Senior Director of Aerospace and Defense for Asia Pacific at Frost & Sullivan. And Subhranshu, we're going to talk about the bigger picture. I mean, the numbers, obviously, not much impacted by the problems they've been having. In fact, the numbers, it seems, boosted by the fact that the Dreamliner was doing okay. So tell us what you make of all the latest surroundings of this investigation.
At this moment, the focus was to look at the issues with the batteries. But we have seen the shifting of the focus from batteries to look at the electrical systems, to look at the voltage and the electrical systems which are connecting the batteries, and the temperature surroundings the batteries are the real issues now. I've seen that investigations has given fairly clean cheat to the manufacturers. There is no such issues with the battery manufacturing.
Is that a positive thing or a negative thing, though? Because if they can't find the problem, it would seem to suggest that that might be a little more worrying than just something obvious, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Issues are with batteries or electrical systems are okay. Anything beyond that, manufacturing, designing, potentially the delay can up to 3 to 6 months down the line, which is a huge challenge for Boeing to consider.
Are we ruling out the electrical system as yet, though? Because we also heard today some of the airline people saying that actually they had battery problems before. They didn't realize that they were battery problems. They just thought they were minor glitches in the battery setup. So somewhere within that electrical system there is something that they haven't tracked down. Now, perhaps it wasn't the ultimate cause of the problems, but there does seem to be something going on in that.
Absolutely. There is an issue with the overheating of the battery system, and which had an impact to the temperature around the batteries. At this moment, according to the investigation, it seems the manufacturing of the batteries is okay, but there are related issues with electrical systems, voltage, as I said, that may create a lot of concern in subsequent days.
All right, well, look, if Boeing have created a plane, and let's not forget that the delivery of this plane was delayed for a very long time because of other little niggles. If somehow Boeing has managed to create a plane that is just not quite there, how much of a problem is that going to be for the company?
At this moment, the expectation was that the problem will be resolved in 3 to 4 weeks down the line. But if it continues to 6 to 10 weeks or more than 10 weeks, the impact to come on the production line. If Boeing decides to stop the production line, it's a huge setback for the Boeing to continue the operation.
I mean, to phrase it in a different way, how much of its future had Boeing bet upon this particular aircraft?
At this moment, estimating any cost would be difficult, but I would say it is not less than anything beyond $250 million to $600+ million losses.
Is there anything that the company's coming up with in its design, production, future fleet that could actually take the place of this Dreamliner that would maybe point towards some optimism in the future?
I don't think Boeing is looking at any short-term decision, but at this moment the objective of the Boeing is not to hamper the productions which is under the operation at this moment.
All right, great stuff. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Now, That was Subhranshu Das from Frost and Sullivan. Staying with the airline sector, Singapore Airlines